S-D-P-P. The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
I don't know. Just play the goalie that doesn't allow goals. Like I don't see what the main issue here is if one goalie allows one goal and another goalie allows 0 goals, what goal are you picking?
I mean, if I were a coach, that's simply what I would do. Simply.
And now, Kelly Rudy did make a good point post-game. Mm-hmm. The Dallas Stars were dog shit, is what he exactly said.
I don't think he said dog shit on Sportsnet. I might have to call you on that one.
No. I'm quoting him directly.
Kelly Rudy's a real dude. He is a real dude, though. I would expect him to say that.
Marc-Andre Fleury did have to face a much tougher Dallas Stars team.
Right.
They were on their game in game 1.
Did he win? Like, I mean, he had a great game despite the gaping sword wound in his back. But Robin Lehner is the starter for the Vegas Golden Knights. Don't even try it.
Should it read DeBoer, or should it now say 4 shutouts in the last 5 games or whatever it is for Robin Lehner? Dude, like, didn't I say this? It must have got lost in the ether months and months and months ago. But around February, when the trade deadline happened, I think I asked on the show, I'm like, is this the best tandem in the league? Because, like, Fleury is a starter having a tough year. He's still a starting goaltender, but he's having a tough year. And they added Robin Lehner?
Vezina winner, or almost Vezina winner.
Vezina nominee? I thought Chicago had one of the best tandems in the league. And just, didn't do so great. I mean, doesn't matter.
Because they're not good.
I'm also going to say Tristan Jarry and Matt Murray, probably up there.
If Matt Murray had been better, they would have been. But Matt Murray, he had an okay year.
He's still Matt Murray.
It was a Matt Murray level.
There's another example, though, of there were probably a lot of people going, how could the Penguins do this to Matt Murray? He gave them this. He gave them that. What have you done for me lately? His numbers were trash. Jarry was in the All-Star game. What have you done for me lately? The Bruins, Tim Thomas, pretty sure he won the Vezina. Next year was trash. They gave the net to Tuukka Rask. Rask lost in the playoffs. The next year, Tim Thomas wrestled the job back, I think won the Vezina again, and the Conn Smythe, and the Stanley Cup. And then Rask was the starter again a couple years later.
Well, it's because he disappeared into the woods, never to be seen again.
Weirdest beginning and end to his career. Like, I still remember one day just being like, is Tim Thomas good? Like, remember he was this weird guy, came into the NHL like in his 30s?
Yep.
And then like just started putting together wins. Is Tim Thomas good? And then, is Tim Thomas the best goalie in the NHL?
I remember when
he disappeared.
I remember when it was him, and the last name was Graham. John Graham, wasn't it? On Boston?
The Lightning goalie?
Yeah, but he was a Boston goalie too. John Graham or something?
I think.
And they thought he was the up-and-coming guy. They were like, wow, this John Graham kid, man, he could be great. And I just remember thinking, it's Tim Thomas and John Graham. It was like four first names as your goalies. And and I remember thinking like, and then Tim Thomas was like unbelievable. But the thing was, Tim Thomas was unbelievable and potentially the worst form I've ever seen on a goaltender. Like him and Hasek, they were amazing at diving at everything.
And like
it worked.
Wearing what looked like borrowed equipment, and like, what's up with that mask? Why is your mask shaped that way? And just. Yeah. Stop pucks and late hits in the crease for some reason.
When Tampa walked away from Ben Bishop, that was more so because his game had just fallen off, right? Speaking of like goalies who are on top and then the team kind of walks away from them, they get Vasilevsky in the same.
And they had Vasilevsky waiting the wings.
Yeah.
He wasn't bad. Ben Bishop wasn't bad, but that year they had a ton of injuries. I remember going to see them in Florida, and they just got shit kicked by Nashville 4-0, and it was not even close. Nashville was very good that year. I think that was the year they went to the Cup final. It was 2016-17.
Mm-hmm. And 2 years previous, it was Tampa in the Cup final versus Chicago where they lost.
Right.
Ben Bishop was the goalie in that.
Yeah, they were not good. They were not good that year, but everybody was out injured.
that trade, from what I remember, so now I'm looking at it now because it was part of a trade that I did. The trade was Bishop went to the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
He went to he was a King for like 5 seconds before getting traded to Dallas. Oh my God. Okay, I got to read both. Bishop went to the Kings along with a 2017 5th-round pick. The Lightning got Peter Budaj, a 2017 7th, a conditional 2017 pick, and I'm pretty sure none of those things turned into anything but Eric Cernak.
Wow, they got Eric Cernak.
Yeah.
They got Eric Cernak out of that. And then 3 months later, the Stars traded a 4th-round pick to the Kings to get Ben Bishop.
Man, imagine where the Kings would have been if they had just held on to Ben, because Ben Bishop's revived his career completely. He's amazing.
With the Stars, he's had a 916, a 934, and a 920.
It just goes back to that LA Kings tweet from like 2011. Our goalie is going to be better than your goalie for the next 10 years. Oh.
And they had Bishop and just went, bye.
Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
Bye. And they give up Cernak. Bye. Dude, That's tough. That is tough. Ben Bishop and Robin Leonard, just 2 goalies who cruised through Ottawa for 5 seconds and ended up being amazing.
Yeah, they had some other good ones too, didn't they? There was another.
The Sens?
I mean, the Sens have had some weird goaltenders.
They've been like a goalie factory for
but like years after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, you know who was awful as a Senator and then just decided, you know what, I'm just going to be good every second season? Brian Elliott.
Yes.
Right.
Remember Brian?
Yep,
and
I do.
If I'm not mistaken, he's actually a little piece of Leafs folklore history. And I was at this game. I was at the Boyd Devereaux hat trick game, the last game of his NHL career, and first ever hat trick. Leafs beat the Sens, and because of that, I think it was the Kings get the 5th pick, the Leafs get the 7th. And instead of getting Braden Shen like they wanted to, they got Nazem Kadri. That game, that one single game where Brian Elliott was in net and was a dog's breakfast, changed the course of the Leafs' history.
Either way, they would have ended up with a really good player. Braden Shen and Nazem Kadri are great. I mean, Braden Shen would have been their number 1 center, though, I think.
Right.
But then, does James Van Riemsdyk ever become a Leaf? Because did the Leafs ever trade Luke Shen while they still have Braden Shen?
Oh, that's a good point. Never thought about that.
The crazy butterfly effect.
It's funny. And this is for Leaf fans, because we aren't going to talk about the Leafs much because there isn't much to talk about. But we'll talk about the Wayne Simmonds thing a little bit later.
They haven't played for a while.
If you were able to wipe out, I don't know, of that 15-year run where they were awful, except for the 2013 season where they were still awful, they just happened to make the playoffs. Where do you start? Because the first 2 seasons after that first lockout, they missed the playoffs by like a couple points, right? Like the one year, it was 1 point. And I think the next year was 1 point too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And then you got it?
I just want to get rid of one thing in this whole last 15 years.
What?
The Rask trade.
Oh.
Just get rid of that and I'm good.
Yeah.
Give me everything else after that and before that. Rask for Raycroft, the whole franchise is different.
It just goes to show how freaking spoiled Boston fans are, right? He gives them 13 or 14 good years, and he goes home because his kid's in the hospital, and they're like, this guy let us down.
Oh, my God. I don't –
like, what?
And Adam, you got me thinking down memory lane. There were so many goalies who were supposed to be the next goalie in Boston. You mentioned John Graham. I don't remember that as much. I do remember Andrew Raycroft winning Rookie of the Year. And do you remember Hannu Toivonen?
Yes.
He was supposed to be the next big thing for that team. And the guy who ended up doing it for them was Tuukka Rask, who the Leafs just gifted them. And this random journeyman named Tim Thomas, who, if I'm not mistaken, was a 12th round pick of the Nordiques in 1994.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Look that up. Look that up. I'm pretty sure he was a 12th round pick of the Nordiques.
Yep. 217th overall, Quebec Nordiques.
So that's not even that deep because there was less teams, right?
Yeah. Which round?
Round 9.
Nine. Still around. It's 2 rounds away from existing today.
That's crazy.
I'm old enough to remember the 8th round. No, that's man, you just need a guy. Just stop the puck.
Yeah,
just
it's true.
The puck.
It's true.
I keep looking every year. I look in the playoffs, and there's these randoms, and the Lightning are a few years deep into this conversation, but Yanni Gourde and Tyler Johnson were randoms signed as UFAs, and they're just unreal. Kiviranta, and I just keep going. When are the Leafs or you, anyone of any fan base watching this? When is your team gonna randomly find a 30-goal scorer hiding under the bed? Because it seems like all the good teams do it.
I give the Leafs credit for some of their signings out of the U.S. hockey program. Like, the Leafs have been good with those guys.
Like noted alumni Christian Hansen.
Bozak.
Bozak is the first one that comes to mind.
Unreal university free agent signing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I'll give them some credit.
That was the University of Denver.
That's right. The problem with the Leafs is they hadn't, at that point, couldn't sign anyone else. Nobody really actually wanted to sign here because they didn't have anybody else. Now, we do have to talk about just what's happened in the playoffs. 4 teams remain. There's been some reports about some teams that didn't want to be there and how they were behaving. We'll get to that a little bit. We're going to talk about Wayne Simmonds potentially in a Leafs jersey, which we talked about last show. But, of course, the legend that is Pierre LeBrun actually interviewed him and asked him straight up. And the answer is very, very interesting. And yes, you can read into it. And there's going to be a little bit more. But anyway, let's start with our Selly with Celtics. It's coming.
What are we waiting for?
Oh, are we not going to? Oh, okay. I thought the intro was going to run. Steve's running off camera. What are we waiting for?
I don't know.
So I have a conversation.
That calls for some Frosted Flakes.
Sure does.
Does Tony to come?
Thank you. My goodness. Anthony. Oh,
he was just a little late for the segment.
Now that's a reason for a cereal celly.
Okay,
give it to me, Ant.
We are going to talk about something that a lot of people are saying about the Frosted Flakes commercial that I think you're going to find very interesting, especially in the age of replay and the age of, I don't know if that goal counts. We'll get to that in a second. Steve, firstly, what do we need to look up on YouTube today or tonight for one of the greatest sellies of all time?
Adam, to have a proper selly, do you need to win? Do you need to win the game?
I don't think you need to win the game. I mean, if you're a Leaf fan, the best sellies happen when we lose, like the Matthews point and the Matthews point, and the Matthews point is the only one I can think of right now. But, there are some really good. I mean, there are great sellies for the Leafs that, when they tied it up and then lost the game in overtime. That's what I'm thinking. If you're a Leaf fan, I think you just have to accept what you get, right?
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean the whole NHL is like that. Some people have higher standards. Why do you ask?
Well, I'm asking because this is a moment that stings for many Calgary Flames fans because they did win this game, but they did not win the ultimate prize. I am talking, of course, about there are not many shifts throughout NHL history that are simply labeled the shift. The Canucks have a few with the Sedins just holding on to the puck for like 4 minutes straight. The Flames have one, and it's from the 2004 playoffs with Jerome McGinley. Magical run, magical performance by Jerome McGinley. Would have won the Conn Smythe had they won. Maybe
probably still should have.
Yeah, maybe. But what makes the shift so memorable and easy to identify on YouTube, no bucket. Old school, when your helmet fell off, you didn't have to skate straight to the bench. But Jerome McGinley gets his bucket ripped off early in the middle of it, going nuts. They're holding on to possession. He's banging. He's crashing. And the Calgary Flames persist, and they get the puck in the net. I don't even think Iginla was the guy who scored. I can't remember the guy who scored because it was called the shift for a reason, and that reason was Jerome Iginla right there. You're going to look that up. You're going to type in the shift and Iginla because that is one of my favorite Flames goals of all time.
Now, we need to talk about the shift when it comes to Tony. There's a very famous commercial.
It's game time. Don't flake on the Frosted.
That's right. That's right, Tony.
Okay, Tony is getting used to what I'm used to, which is interrupting Adam.
Right, which is
Steve's great.
I agree, Tony.
Now,
Best friend, Tony the Tiger.
with the ultimate commercial that we've all seen with Frosted Flakes, and we will include the URL in the YouTube links, so you'll be able to see it.
It's playing right now.
Ah, it's playing right now. Guys, did you notice anything in that commercial?
I just noticed Tony the Tiger and his line mate achieving their goal and having a serial celly, Adam.
Because what I noticed is that Tony's offside.
Now, wait.
Tony's offside.
How is he offside? Explain.
It's debatable, but I wanted to throw it out there. Video review. Watch it again. Tell me what you think. Is Tony offside? Now, Steve, don't give me an answer now. We're going to give people a few days to think about it, to look it over. Sunday, we're going to decide, was Tony offside and should that goal have been called back? Because there are people that are actually reaching out to Frosted Flakes to tell them, hey, by the way, Tony's offside. Maybe he shouldn't be celebrating so much. I'm not. This is how hardcore Canadian fans are.
All right, so
this is like people who talk about the flying V. Are you serious? Oh my God.
Anybody who pulls up the video on YouTube, or if you're just watching this video, I'll include it like while I'm talking right now. At like 1 second of the YouTube video, it's called Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, the cereal celly on Frosted Flakes Canada's YouTube channel. If you go to 1 second and you watch it at 2.5 speed, there's this tough angle where the stick is down, one skate is down on the ice, and the puck is in the zone. But are his skates over the line?
No answers right now. Steve, Jesse, no answers right now.
I need to see this.
No answers right now.
I need to see it.
It's so tough.
I want you to take a few days to think about it. I need to know what you think. I need you to tweet us. Tag Frosted Flakes Canada.
This is fun.
Make sure you tell us, because I think we may have an
offside.
Oh
boy.
Are you watching it?
It's tight, no. Right?
I keep double-clicking to go frame by frame.
Now the way
you lose the puck on his stick for like half a second, and that's where the controversy comes, you know?
That's all you need.
Okay, you guys are focused on Tony potentially being offside. I'm focused on the fact that Tony makes this pass with his eyes closed. He makes the pass with he closes them, passes it, and opens them. That is confidence. That is swagger. He closes his eyes. The madman.
Well, maybe he shouldn't have, because he might be offside.
Adam, it counted. It counted. Listen,
I don't know.
We don't know what league he plays in.
No. So, this is NHL rules.
What if
you don't know that?
Some other
it might be NHL rules, but do they have review?
Yes, they have YouTube. We're trying to find out. Now, if it's not, so here's what we need to do. Prove one way or the other. And you have to show us your case. I'd like to see your case for it, because otherwise the call on the ice stands, right? It always stands. If you can't prove it, then the call on the ice has to stand, and the call is goal.
Can I also say something else about the video?
Sure.
I'm upset at Tony's teammate for taking a slap shot on a breakaway.
It's a bomb, though.
No, I don't care, man.
I get that
whatever
he
it takes.
Whatever I get that he scored, but still, you should come on. Dangle the goalie a little. Try and go 5-hole. You don't have to slap it right at him.
Buddy, that's a bomb, though. All I see is a dynamic duo with a ton of swagger. Guy makes the pass with his eyes closed. He bombs it on a 2-on-0. Come on, Sedin's never did that. Sedin's never had swag like that. Come on now.
Hey, listen, I don't have any problem with slap shots on a breakaway. Am I wrong? No. Why? Score the goal. I don't care. Score the goal.
As a Canadian, you're obligated to have a problem with it.
Yeah. Somebody's clearly never gone to the Don Cherry School of Hockey. Like I did.
As a Leaf fan, you're supposed to have a problem with it too. Robert Reichel and all that.
No. Yeah. I also have no problem with spinoramas in the breakaway thing the breakaway on a penalty shot.
Shootout.
That's what I mean. And we can't.
I don't know if it's illegal on a penalty shot.
You're allowed to do it if your momentum keeps forward. So if you do a spinorama forward, then yes. But as soon as it can be deemed that your momentum shifted to the opposite direction up the ice, then your penalty shot is disqualified.
There you go. Jesse, rules Blake. That's it for us with Kellogg's anyway. And we're gonna decide for real. Need you to have a look at this. We're gonna start for real on Sunday. We will have a verdict for you. So send in your thing, put it on the Reddit page, our Steve Dangle, right next to the We Hate Adam comment section. And
don't bring up that faction.
Sorry for starting that thread, by the way.
I know it's going to happen anyway. All right.
Great.
He sure is.
So is Adam.
So let's go to the Knights and the Stars, and it really is like two separate games, but nothing in these two games seems the same. The Dallas came out and had a pretty great game the first game, and then didn't. In the not words of Kelly Rudy, they had a dog shit game the second game. Now, I think you got to attribute some of that to Vegas. Vegas is a very good hockey team too. And sometimes I think we put a little bit too much on teams that don't show up or don't play well instead of putting it on the team that did show up and play well who made them not play well. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, the Raptors got killed the other night against the Celtics. The Raptors legitimately just didn't show up. They kept trying to hit threes with the first 10 shots of the game hit the rim and out. That was a team that was just bad, and the Celtics were very, very good. But the Raptors
one of the most frustrating Raptors games.
What I saw,
and Siakam's not a star. I think we're all
not yet.
Gotta admit that at this point.
Not yet. Yeah. He could be. Not yet.
No,
but we got to look at the fact that Vegas can take over any game against any team. And we can't underestimate the fact that there were some stupid penalties. They're actually the rewind right now as I'm telling you this is on Sportsnet, and that Radulov call on Mark Stone, where he slashed him, just stupid. But I feel like as bad as everybody thinks Dallas was, I would attribute a lot of that to Vegas. And I think that Vegas is just a very good hockey team that showed up and had a goalie that didn't let in a goal. And I know everybody who is a Marc-Andre Fleury fan is like, well, wait a second. We could have used a little bit of goal support in the first game. True. But Vegas was all over Dallas on this one. And I wonder if that smothering defense that Dallas plays, if that is going to be possible for this whole thing. Because I don't know if Dallas can play the same way that they played in the second round. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know that you can play every team the same way. I don't know that Dallas can play Vegas like this. Just a thought.
Well, and like with the Islanders, for example, we keep talking about how they the Capitals look terrible.
Yep.
And the Flyers look terrible. Yeah. Well, and the Flyers look terrible. What if the way the Islanders play just makes you look terrible? I think we need to look into that. Like, if I were the Dallas Stars, I would simply get more than 24 shots against Robin Leonard. The way Vegas played wouldn't allow it. Now, the penalty factor is pretty wild. Because even though Vegas only got one power play goal, it was still 6 power plays to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the kind of effect that has on you, whether you win or not. The Dallas Stars, oh my God. Yeah, there it is. The Dallas Stars for forwards, leading in ice time, I believe, was Tyler Seguin with 16 minutes and 45 seconds. If you're on the penalty kill that much, you can't. You can't get into any kind of rhythm. You're never going to win. It doesn't matter if you kill every single one. It still just destroys the rest of your game plan. Completely destroys it. And it allowed Vegas to kind of save their horses too. Because a guy like Mark Stone, 17-25, that's all he played. Like, they have stars, and no one up front played more than 20 minutes. The only guy on the back end who played more than 20 minutes was Nate Schmidt, and that's because he was on the power play the whole time. So it just, you got to stay out of the box. Got to be disciplined.
From what you've seen from the first 2 games in this series, do you think that there's a clear cut, this is the team that's going to win it, or do you really feel like even 1-1, we don't know enough yet?
We don't know
I think if
yet.
Ben Bishop stays out, it's going to be real tough for the Stars. You know, it's just they didn't look great in game 2, and Khudobin's okay, but I don't believe he's going to stay on his head like Bishop has the ability to. And just from what I've seen from Vegas, I'm still leaning hard on them.
It's a great team.
Yeah,
it's a great team with more scoring. Good. With more scoring.
Mm-hmm. And Ryan Reeves is so tough. He played just going around the ice, smacking everybody around. Like those. And
he wasn't in game 1.
He wasn't there. That's right. Yeah. He was. Yeah. I don't know.
It's amazing how that changes a team. I want to say it was John Shannon or someone was basically like, because Vegas articles were written about them earlier in the playoffs. They're like the loudest team in the league. They're motor mouths. They're cocky. They like talking about how good they are and everything. And in game 1, the comment was, "Oh, they're really quiet." And their ringleader, the guy who does the most chirping, the most banging, the most crashing, wasn't in. And it's amazing what kind of an effect that can have. And now all of a sudden, the Stars took 6 penalties. It could be coincidental. It's only 1 game. That's why I'm not ready to write the Stars off. But
didn't Pittsburgh pay factor. A huge price to get Ryan Reeves and traded him that same season, or let him go to Vegas? There was something like how he ended up there, and he was supposed to be what he is in Vegas, but for Pittsburgh. And we thought Pittsburgh was nuts for giving up what they gave up, or for signing him to what they signed him to. I forget which it was, but it was a signing or trade. It was like a first-round pick, wasn't it?
Yeah. You know what, man? Here, I'm still trying to find it. Here it is. You know what, man? You can still love Reeves,
but a first-round pick.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So here's what it was. It wasn't quite that. So the Penguins acquire Ryan Reeves and a second-round pick. What they gave up, though, was Oscar Sundqvist and a first-round pick in 2017. So basically what they did was they moved up. Or the Penguins – right. So it's not like we gave up a first-round pick for Ryan Reeves. But still, Oscar Sundqvist, Stanley Cup champion, he was he was better than I thought. In 25 games, he had 9 points as a depth guy for the Blues. That's not nothing. And then, oh, my God, all the Penguins got in return.
What did they get?
What did they get?
Oh, okay. So here's what I just read that made me react like that. The Golden Knights acquire Ryan Reeves and a 2018 fourth. All the Penguins got in return was Tobias Lindbergh.
Oh, former Leaf.
Now, the reason that's not totally true, and I'm not going to bog down the podcast by looking up the whole thing, that was that weird 3-way trade. Remember that?
It was a
3-way trade. No, that wasn't the Leafs. I want to say it was the Sens. I'm not totally sure, but it involved Derek Brassard, and they tried to make it, and there was something with the salary retention where the NHL went no, and they nixed the trade, and then I think they refinanced it. I don't know. I don't know the proper term for it.
I don't know. And then refinance is the correct
refinance. They figured it out.
Zero down. It's great.
What if we kissed at the refinancing event?
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, something like that, Jesse. Maybe later in the show. Oh, here it is. Oh, my God. What is this mess? So the Sens acquire Ian Cole, Philip Gustafson, goaltending prospect, I believe, a 2018 first from Pittsburgh, and a 2019 third. The Penguins get Derek Brassard, Tobias Lindbergh, and Derek Brassard was salary retained, and Vincent Dunn, and a 2018 third-round pick. Jesus. And the Golden Knights get Derek Brassard, who I guess they then retain. Holy shit, that's confusing. And Ryan Reeves. Very confusing. Very confusing. I could see why they said no to the first trade.
Wow.
And then the Sens didn't even keep that first because it says Keandre Miller, and he's with the Rangers. I'm confused, man.
Who did they get?
There's a trade tree.
Is that part of the Zibanejad trade?
Maybe. I don't.
You should do a video on this. I think. Yeah,
that's a weird one.
Yeah.
I should do a trade tree. There's a reason I don't do them live.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
They take a while.
Now, Tampa Bay rolled in and steamrolled the New York Islanders.
Wow.
8-2. That to me is a team having a bad game and a team having a very good game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Tampa Bay was very, very good. The Islanders were not. The Islanders are a much better defensive team than what we saw, without question.
Yes. Did you see what John Cooper said after the game?
I didn't.
He goes, let's be honest, this is a one-off. We took advantage of a tired team.
Yeah.
Which is true, right? The Lightning were fat and happy. The Islanders had just finished a 7-game war with Philadelphia. And you talk about the importance of closing out a series. Yes, the Islanders did get the win. They could have been done in 5. 2 overtime games.
Yep.
2 games that went to overtime. You could have closed it out, and as a result, you're down 1-0.
Now, the way it usually works in hockey is that if a team gets blown out the way the Islanders did, they come back and win like 2-3-0.
That's what it seems like. Every single time a good team gets blown out, they come back and they win.
But, and I don't doubt that the Islanders win a few games in this series. But is this, I mean, at least one. Are they going to win the next game? Because they are still going. I mean, yeah, it's nice of John Cooper to say that. That's very hockey of him. But at the same time, the 7-game series doesn't just wear off. You don't just recover from that magically in 48 hours. You're sore. You're exhausted. And yes, you get to hang out in that bubble or whatever. But we're talking about weeks to recover from things like that with the wear and tear on the body.
I think it's going to be a very rough, aggravating game for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
So you think the Islanders are going to smother them?
They're going to bang and crash. And they only had to deal with Cal Clutterbuck for 6 minutes because of injury. And now they're saying he's available. But I'm like you still got Ross Johnston, that's not fun. You got Matt Martin, that's not fun. I don't understand totally the status of Leo Komarov, but heading into game 1, they said everyone was available. So I think the Islanders are going to do what they do best, which is smother, but underratedly bang and crash.
Okay. I have a question on we're talking about the rest factor. So the Lightning finished their series with Boston on the 31st. Did they get to travel to the Edmonton Bubble immediately after finishing that?
I don't think they did.
The Islanders didn't finish their series until the 5th of September. So did the Lightning get to go on like the 1st of September and then spend those 4 days in the Edmonton Bubble, and then the Islanders
in
had
a
to
different
travel
time zone?
Yeah, and then the Islanders travel on the 6th, and then you play this game a day later?
Ooh.
So there's an article tweeted out by the Tampa Bay Lightning on NHL.com from September 4th. It's going to be weird, even practicing, blah, blah, blah. And it's on leaving Toronto to enter a new bubble. So I think they stuck around until it was time to begin the third round. I don't think they had a huge advantage in that regard. They just had a rest advantage. They were rested.
Okay. I'd be interested to know their travel dates.
Because it would make a huge difference, right, Jess? Like the idea.
Even a day.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because even if it's a couple hours different, your whole body routine changes that you've become accustomed to for the last month. That's a big deal for an athlete. Like, you remember Jack Eichel's pregame ritual routine? Imagine throwing that thing off by 5 minutes.
All right.
Well, and
you'd be a mess.
Part of it was he rides his bike around and he's got to get a drink from a certain place. Okay, hey Jack, Yeah, you can do none of those things. You're not allowed to do all the stuff that makes you feel comfortable. You're not allowed to do any of it.
But they've been living in the same spot for 2 months now. So you got to think they've built some routine out of that, 8 weeks in the same little hotel room, and then you shift over. And if you get a couple extra days in the new situation, who knows?
Big difference.
Who knows if that led to 7-2.
Here's how long this season has been. Also, like, just the mentality of it. Rick Bowness, Dallas Stars head coach, was talking about like life in the bubble, and he was very open about like the mental effect this has on teams. And it dawned on me, Rick Bowness is not the coach the Dallas Stars started the season with.
No. Did he even get 20 games?
I don't know. You know what's crazy? I don't remember the guy who got fired's name. That was years ago. When did he get fired? Like November?
It was
December?
It was just after the Babcock stuff. I remember that. And it was an incident that apparently, he went into substance abuse.
Jim Montgomery.
Yeah.
Jim Montgomery.
December 10th, he was fired.
There you go. It wasn't long. I remember talking about it.
You're just getting used to this guy being your coach, and you're just getting used to being the coach. And then they go, by the way, season's done.
Okay, now it's back.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How long are we going to be done? Oh, it might be 2 weeks. Might be like 6 months. We're not sure. Like, just for anyone who's still on the fence about this not being a real cup, I feel like winning this cup is harder than it is in most years. Whoever wins it friggin' earned it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. And
it's not like there's a weird team in the finals. It's not like Montreal is here. It's not like Montreal versus Phoenix.
It's all the best teams.
We got 4 of the top 4 teams in the NHL.
Yeah.
So, 3 round robin teams, and the only one that squeaked in that wasn't is the Islanders. Like,
yeah. And Montreal would have been fun. Don't get me wrong. That would have been great. But yeah, I mean, I think, everybody would have had some issues with that. If anything, it's reinforced the fact that the best teams are the best teams in the NHL, and maybe the parity isn't as close as we think it is. I think maybe a lot is made of the parity, but you look at who's made it through, even with that 4-month off, 5-month off delay that we had, best teams are still through. Nothing's changed, and everybody got healthy. Best teams are still through, and teams like the Leafs that are a leaky ship anyway sunk almost immediately. So yeah, it's pretty wild. Now, let's talk about a team that apparently didn't want to win a cup. Can you imagine showing up for the bubble? Actually, first off, I do want to say apparently there was some rumors that came out after all the teams switched over to the Edmonton Bubble from Toronto, and I guess there was a lack of amenities. And I'm thinking specifically, it's probably Hotel X. I saw that. The pool. But yeah, there was some. There's nothing because Edmonton would. I mean, in the hotel they're in, it's just less. There's just less to do.
Yeah, because here in Toronto, they had access to like BMO Field.
Yeah.
They could just go out there and play ultimate frisbee. You couldn't do that in Edmonton.
Can't do it the same way. Right? Yeah. Like they could do a lot of stuff there or in Toronto that they can't in Edmonton. So I thought it was funny because I was like, guys, you're not going to be there that long. Like, stop bitching. Like, are you serious? There's a pandemic going on. You guys are still making money. Like, get out of here. Stop complaining. Oh, my Wi-Fi's not great. Like, stop it. It's like, is there Wi-Fi in Winnipeg? It's one of those stupid things. Now, the thing, though, that it was interesting was Michael Russo, who dropped an absolute bombshell last year with the Paul Fenton article, which I still have not gotten over. I have not recovered from that. But on
so good
in a segment that I think you will find very, very interesting at Account for Hockey, who you should follow. He was on the Russo Hockey Show. It's named after him. It's kind of like the Steve Dangle Podcast. Much like
what
Steve
an egotistical bastard!
I know, right? He said,
"What a loser."
I mean, the stories from inside the bubble about the Caps basically turning it into a vacation, having pool parties and things like that, you pretty much knew they had no interest in being there. That was the drop. Now, a source close to the Capitals told Russian Machine that it's BS. The source explained that the team's problems were hockey-related and not due to how they spent their time in the bubble. People used to make up stories about Ovi like this all the time. When in doubt, make up disparaging story about Ovi for clicks. Jenner Jensen.
That's just too easy.
Jenner Jensen, who is the wife of defenseman Nick Jensen, pushed back on Russo's comment as well. And she wrote, "My husband wanted to win a Stanley Cup. So did all of his teammates. many Capitals players gave a glimpse into what their experience was like at Hotel X. You know, there's just them hanging out, having some hanging by the pool and having a glass of wine. Nothing wrong with that. That's being a human being.
Totally fine.
And when you're isolated, you want to be social with the people that are at least there, right? If anything, I would say it's a great team building exercise. However, Michael Russo is one of the best reporters in the game. He doesn't say that stuff lightly.
Yeah, can we stop? What? Listen, is the story true or not? I was not there. I have no idea. Okay, but don't accuse Michael Russo, of all people, of making this up. Someone told him this, and they might be making it up, but a trusted source of a trusted journalist told him this story. So he told it, as is his job.
Is it possible that the truth is somewhere in the middle? Like maybe they weren't as devoted as they have been in seasons past because some of them didn't want to be there away from their family.
Who said Ovechkin?
I know that nobody said Ovechkin.
One. Yeah.
Oh, you said it? I saw other people talking about it on Twitter. I'm like, who?
Russo didn't.
That's a little weird. Man, the Caps didn't try very hard. What are you saying about Ovechkin? Well, now I'm thinking about him. I wasn't before, but Steve, that's a weird thing to just bring up.
I'm sitting here waiting for you to get to your point about a certain head coach coming in and this all being a setup for that.
Oh, listen.
Because I saw that and my ears perked up. My eyes, I should say.
So I had a tweet that made Washington Capitals fans very upset. Sorry, Jesse, you caught me off guard. I'm like, what the hell?
You're on good terms with Caps fans.
What point are you talking? Well, I'm on good terms with them, which is why I think this caught them so off guard. So I just put 3 screen caps in succession, and they are as follows. The first is an article from Russian Machine Never Breaks. The Athletic's Michael Russo says the Capitals turned their bubble experience into a vacation. They had no interest in being there, is the quote. The second screen cap is from the Russian Machine article. The Capitals certainly looked listless on the ice for most of the 2020 playoffs and were upset in the first round by former coach Barry Trotz and the New York Islanders in 5 games. Capitals head coach Todd Reirden was fired days later after GM Brian McClellan cited the need for a new experienced bench boss who could push some buttons on some players, some good players. My third screen cap is an article from Sportsnet. Mike Babcock and Gerard Gallant have interviewed for the vacant Capitals head coaching position. And all I said was, it's very happening. Listen, for a story that's made up and fake, it's a little weird that the Caps GM, sorry, not some writer, because we all know they all lie.
Well, it's the media.
Fake news. It's the media. You friggin'
especially a liberal like Russo.
Oh, especially.
I don't know how he votes, by the way. I don't know anything.
No, but don't know. You Adam, he's in the media.
Do you think he wears a mask?
PBS, it's all the same.
Russo definitely wears a mask.
Yeah, he simps for the Wild and wears a mask.
Yeah.
Michael Simp
What you got an immune
Russo.
system for, bro? That's what you got an immune system for. Holy shit. I don't even remember where I was going with that. Oh, it's a little weird that
Hold on, do the media thing again. Do the media.
The media.
That's very funny.
God.
Sorry, continue.
It's
where you were
weird.
going was
The GM of the Capitals seems to think that they need a coach who can push some buttons and with some of their good players. You guys are on this hockey podcast too. Who are some of the good players on the Washington Capitals?
Alexander Ovechkin.
That's one.
Backstrom.
It's weird that you went to Ovi first on account of he's the best, but you know.
John Carlson, Norris Trophy nominee John Carlson.
No one said Ovechkin until you guys said Ovechkin. I'm just saying. No one said Ovechkin until you said Ovechkin.
He said some players, some very good players. That doesn't mean Ovechkin, right? It could mean anyone.
The NHL, they're all very good players. You talking about Vrana? Who are you talking about? Phoenix Copley? He needs to step up his backup game? Radko Gudas? Talking about Brendan Dillon there?
Michael Kempney.
Definitely Michael Kempney. 100% Michael Kempney.
And Nick Jensen, too. Let's be honest. Nick Jensen, for sure.
Like, no one said Ovechkin until you said Ovechkin. No one said it. But the first place my mind went when they said, oh, we need a coach who pushes some buttons, my mind would have gone to Babcock. But the fact of the matter is, the truthful truth is that the Caps have, honest to goodness, interviewed Mike Babcock. Now, it doesn't mean they're serious about hiring him necessarily, because we talk like every second show.
Coaches. Washington does not pay coaches.
Well,
but he's getting a little paycheck from a team we cheer for.
From the laughs.
He's an experienced coach. He has won a Stanley Cup in the last 25 years, which essentially guarantees him a job. Him and his band of children took the Caps very seriously in 2017 and almost did the thing. They've interviewed him. They want a coach who isn't going to take any shit. And, the money thing. They don't pay their coaches. Oh, you're right. You're right. You don't think that losing to Barry Trotz might be making them think that that was the wrong choice?
And I should point out, let me throw this at you. Mm-hmm. Should point out that the Leafs will still be on the hook for part of Mike Babcock's salary. They're not going to pay him $5 million.
Sure.
But even if they pay him $2.5 million, the Leafs have to pick up the other $2.5 million. But he's going to get his $5 and whatever million. Mm-hmm. The Leafs have to agree to it though. So if the Leafs decide, well, the Caps, you're not picking up enough of this, then they could say no. He's under contract.
Yeah,
and if I'm the Leafs, I'm going, you've got to pay. Sorry, you got to pay big money for this.
I don't see them preventing him from working. I see them, even if it's not enough the Capitals want to pick up, I see them just negotiating to a point where if they want to hire him, they'll get to a figure where it's reasonable for everybody.
$3 million.
Now, I look.
They should pay $3 million.
Could be, Adam. I look at the Washington Capitals and I go, like, in my personal opinion, Gerard Gallant would be amazing with them. I think it's a really good fit. Babcock, like, we got to stop talking about him like he's a terrible coach.
No, like, he's just questionable. He just does some questionable shit.
Well, and this is the, and then, so I was tweeting at Ian Olin from Russian Machine about this. We got to stop thinking about this like us. Mm-hmm. And we got to think about it like NHL guys. Babcock did some reprehensible. You are in their mind, I would think, you're lumping him in with some other much.
With Bill Peters is what you're saying. With Bill Peters. You're not even close. Not the same.
It's not the same. It's not good. It's not good. But in your mentions, be honest with me. In your mentions, when you saw this Babcock thing happen and you were talking about it's terrible that he did what he did to Mitch Marner, how many hockey dudes were like, that's just how I grew up? That's just how I grew up, is the coach came in and he yelled at you and he, pushed these buttons and he made you better. That was everyone. Okay, all those guys grow up to then be the guys who are making decisions for the Washington Capitals. You know what I mean? All those guys grew up in that environment. You got to stop thinking about it like we do. And you got to think about it how NHL executives do. It's the same pool of 40 guys maybe for 32 jobs. And he's won a cup in the last quarter century. I think there's a serious chance they hire him.
I can't wait till Ovechkin has to play fourth line minutes because he's not back checking. I can't wait.
Dale Hunter 2.0, baby. Dale Hunter 2.0.
Don't say that.
Yo, it's going to happen. Yo, Ovi only got 16 minutes. Oh,
and
then they'll have some fourth line center who got 23 minutes. And we won't even know. I can't wait. Washington, good luck. Ovi will get max 18 minutes a game.
It wouldn't be the first time in NHL history a GM hired a coach to spite his team because he thinks they need it. It's happened. The Leafs, to my understanding, the Leafs were ready to be done with Randy Carlyle. And they extended him because they're like, no, we can't let the players win. They cannot rule the roost here. We make the decisions, and we're going to keep the guy who's a pain in their ass. just to send them a message. I'm just saying. If I were the Caps,
the next year.
if I were the Caps, I would hope that. It wasn't very fun after that. But if I were the Caps, I would desperately hope that, or Caps fan, I would desperately hope that Gerard Gallant gets hired. Caps fans, it might happen. Might happen with Babs. The Babitals. It's going to happen.
The Babitals, no.
The Babitals. There's the name of the show right there.
The Bab Capitals.
No, Babitals is better.
The Babitals.
I love that. I love that so much. Oh, my God. So Pierre LeBrun talked to Wayne Simmonds, and we talked about Wayne Simmonds on the last episode. And, the opinions at the time were, I'd love to have him. But it certainly seems like with the reputation Wayne has, and maybe his offense isn't going to be the same as it used to be. He may never be a 60, 70-point player in the NHL again. Yes, he would be a great addition to the team. He's a good team person, first off. He's been there before with many teams. Like, he's played on some really great LA teams and then some really great Philadelphia teams and some not so good ones. And always is known as tough, mean, not a fun guy to play against. And that's the thing, Steve, you always mention, is that the Leafs are too fun and too easy to play against. You should really dread coming to Toronto, and teams don't. They don't.
You need to keep.
Sorry, go.
You need to keep your head up when Kyle Clifford is on the ice. But he's not a pain in the ass. They need a pain in the ass.
Probably 2 or 3 pain in the ass.
Probably 2 or 3. But one thing about Wayne is it's after every whistle too. It's not in between the whistles. He's just going to wear on you all the time. And now we're talking about prime Wayne Simmonds, though. We don't know what we have with him. And this is why I'm worried about the Leafs committing big money to him. And I think most NHL teams are worried about committing big money to Wayne Simmonds. But what I tweeted was, what if, because we know being close to home is important to him. That's why he
lives in Aurora.
Trade to the Buffalo Sabres. Lives in Aurora, Adam, but he's got a bunch of real estate in our old neighborhood, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's good for him. That's awesome.
I want him to win the cup with the Leafs and then bring the cup to the Black Dog Pub. Let's go. Be the third guy. Chris Draper, Devontae Smith-Pelly, and then you. But he likes being close to home. He all but said, I'd like to be a Leaf.
Well, here's what he said.
Here we go.
I'm open to everything. Toronto's got a great core. I think that's definitely a team where I could go in and make an impact right away. He's right.
Come on. How many guys talk like that?
Right. So when you don't want to go somewhere. Who compliments the other team? Come on.
I don't think he's saying that about the Arizona Coyotes.
Right.
No offense, Arizona.
And everyone in his life, everyone in our old neighborhood is like, Wayne, come play for the Leafs.
Everybody
wants that. His friends are Leaf fans. We know this for fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're Leaf fans. Wayne, come home. Come play for the Leafs.
Yep.
But I wonder if the Leafs are interested, which I kind of hope they are. We've been talking about Wayne Simmonds coming to the Leafs for a long time. I wonder if he looks at it and the Leafs look at it similarly to Tyler Ennis from a few years ago, where when the Leafs got him, I'm like, guy's kind of busted up, isn't he? But he came to Toronto because of their
medical staff,
amazing facilities, and their amazing medical staff and rehab staff. Now, Wayne, I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it in his abdomen? It was something that sounded very
his back as well, if I remember correctly.
Take it from me, it's not fun. It's very not fun. But, and I mean, it's probably not as bad as Wayne Simmonds. But if he,
that's not why we're smiling.
Steve.
What?
Do you want to bring up Justin Fisher's tweet to you this evening? A couple of days ago.
I do. Bring it up. I missed it.
Oh, Adam, did you miss this?
Bring it up. I didn't see this. What is it?
This is Steve left.
Steve left. Okay, so it's just our show now. What happened?
Show the tweet.
Oh, hold on. Let me just pull it up so I don't.
Oh, do you not have the tweet prepared that you brought up? You guys are bullies. Here, while Jesse's preparing that tweet, can I give free advertising to Theragun? I just got this in the mail today. It's a massager.
Steve, what Steve's going to do is pulverize his back into submission.
Yep. It's a good idea. So I'm going to read this tweet from our dear friend, Justin Fisher.
One of the funniest Twitter followers in the world, man. He's amazing.
He
Piece
says,
of shit.
you might think there's nothing Steve Dangle likes to talk about more than hockey, but you'd be wrong. He loves to talk about his sore back.
I got the Theragun because he sent me the link.
And if you know Steve, you know that tweet is factual information.
Yeah. Hey, ask Steve. Steve, you ever been to a rehab clinic for that back?
No, Adam, I've never been to your friggin' witch doctor 5 cities away from me.
So I have a bad jaw, which was from my bad back.
Yeah, that's the same.
And so what happened?
I thought it was from your thumb, you liar.
It was from my thumb too. So what happened was I cut my thumb when I was 14.
You got a magical ass jaw. What the
Anybody that's in physical therapy would be able to explain this better than I would. But essentially, because I damaged nerve endings here, it led to some issues in my neck, in my back, and in my jaw. I went to the doctor. I did a whole bunch of things. Like he obviously loosened me up. He put I did acupuncture and he'd electrify it too, and broke up all the tissue. And I had headaches every day for 10 years, right up until this January. I have not gone since COVID started mid-March. I think I did 2 a week for 6 or 7 weeks, and I have not had an issue since.
Wow.
And it's because he corrected my back. Now, Steve has been bitching about this back for the same amount of time as my jaw.
Steve talks about his back more than he talks about hockey.
He hasn't done a single thing. Like he's like, he's seeing a guy in his basement, and he's like, "This guy will sort me out."
Or he does the tennis ball stretches.
Yes. And he's like, "Oh, hold on, guys, I got to get the tennis ball out." If Steve would just go to an athletic rehab clinic, you have a wife who has benefits.
Yeah.
You can use those benefits and go and get your back fixed, but you're like, nah. You know what? I'm going to cheap out on this one.
I'm going to buy a tennis ball.
And I'm going to buy this thing.
It's a lacrosse ball.
By the way, that thing is not going to fix you. Your hips are out of alignment. And you know it.
Yeah, a massager probably won't fix your permanent back damage. I don't know if it's permanent, but whatever is going on.
He'll go, Jesse. Eventually he'll go. Mm-hmm. And it's in Toronto. And NHL players, by the way, go to this clinic. Okay? Oh. They go to this clinic to get treatment. If Steve goes and he goes for 5 or 6 weeks, I can guarantee you he's going to see results. And I'm not even going to say the clinic because that's not important.
It's not.
And he will be like, wow, that was great. I can't believe I didn't go earlier. But he refuses to go because it's in Toronto and because that's too far. Now, if my back was hurting, there'd be no bridge too far. I would drive all the way from Oshawa. All the way. But Steve's like, I'm used to it now.
Steve, you have the floor.
Anyway.
We will shut up. What do you think about your back?
Oh, yeah. Adam, I would definitely do this. Adam's great at theoretical travel. You're so good at theoretical commuting. Friggin' stapled to Toronto for the rest of his life. Yeah. You love it. You love it. Adam, what else would you do if the mean man were there? If I were there, you know what I would have said?
Can I defend Adam here?
Yeah.
As he laughs?
Yeah. Adam, I bet you got all kinds of lines for guys in traffic.
Adam does do frequent travels to Perth, Ontario, where he has family.
Yes.
Every couple of weekends, he does take that, was it 2 hours?
3.5.
3.5 hour drive, Steven.
That's right. I go to my dad and stepmom are in Smith Falls. And my aunt and uncle are in Lanark County. And actually, at the Home Hardware there, and I'm not going to say his name because he didn't ask or he didn't say I could, but there is a fan of the Steve Dangle podcast there who is also in broadcasting college at, I believe, Algonquin. So let me just say, because I walked into the Home Hardware there, and he was like, hey, I'm a huge fan. I'm like, really? And then, actually, strangely enough, I was in Perth this summer, and I was outside of a house, and somebody walked out, and they're like, hey, did you use your paddleboard? I was like, get the fuck out. And she was like, crazy. She's like, yeah, I'm a huge fan. Like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh, I got family here. So anyway.
Steve, if Adam can drive for family, you can drive for your back.
That is for business. For business.
Your back is business.
You visited that family every 2 weeks before you bought a house out there? Really? Really? Oh, you're such a great nephew. You're such a great nephew. Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass.
But it's your back. It's your back.
Fix that jaw for you, bud?
point, Dangle.
Well, but this is that his back is his business.
What a fucking
and he's not
nephew.
taking care of it.
Everyone take notes from Adam Wilde. Everyone take notes. Holy shit. Take notes and write them down in bullshit chicken scratch because you're a doctor. I can't wait to get all kinds of messages from everybody who took one kin course 5 years ago. I can't wait. I can't wait. This is going to be great.
No.
All they're trying to do is help you.
What? Shots at our listeners for trying to help you.
What? You took that one kin course. Yo, Steve is backed into a corner and he's projecting right now. Don't you dare take that. Don't you dare take that.
I took a history elective. I know my history. Whatever happened to Steve's history corner? I'm a fucking expert too. Let's go.
Oh, man. No, it's okay, man. Just enjoy your bag.
Yeah.
It's great.
Adam,
through all this,
I'm
your
not
back is
driving 6 hours to fucking Toronto.
Once you get it fixed, I'm gonna call Mrs. Dangle and I'm gonna tell her that she needs to.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, definitely bring that shit in my house. That's great.
No.
Oh, you know what's great, Adam, is that I never get it. Oh no, Adam's introducing this brand new factor into my life.
How will you handle that?
Probably really well.
By the way, I told Steve, Jesse, that one thing he needs to do with his son Leo is, and Steve, don't say anything yet. One thing he needs to do with his son Leo is take a video of Leo crying while he's young, because they're only young once, and you never get to hear that cry again. So this morning, Jesse, at what time was it? Jeez, it was about it was this last night at about 9:15. I already gone to bed. And I get one text, and it says, Adam, period. So already I'm in trouble. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then it says, as Leo goes through his first bout of colic, I'm reminded of the time you said to record his cry because I would miss it. Next text.
Now explain to everybody what colic is.
Colic is this thing that they can't figure out with babies that's basically gas that makes them cry and cry and cry and cry. And this is in the stage where you're not sleeping much anyway, so you just want to crawl into a rock and die.
So the baby has gas and it won't stop crying.
Yeah, and it's their
kicks and not cries, screams in agony, screams in agony like it's being eaten by fire ants from the inside.
Yes,
for 7 hours straight.
Yes, they just don't stop, and it's painful and it sucks. And it sounds like you had it a lot worse, or that Leo's got it a lot worse than Everly did. But I know Everly had some serious issues with her. Their little intestinal tracts are developing, right? So they're not fully developed. And I remember one time she had a number 2 that was so painful that she cried for an hour. Like it was, it just happens. Babies, this is what happens with babies. So wear a condom, everyone. But the thing is, no, you trust me, you don't want to go through it without having it planned. Let me put it that way. But anyway, so Steve said, as Leo goes through his first bout of colic, I'm reminded of the time you said to record his cry because I would miss it. And I was just thinking, Adam, you're a fucking psychopath. Now, I wrote back. I
am 32 years old. Not once have my parents ever been like, Steve, we really miss your cry.
It's just, you go back and you watch. I only have a 5-second clip of Everly doing it. But she was this big. She's smaller than a basketball. And she cried. And I go, it just brings you back. You remember that. And you don't get that ever again. That little cry that she has gets bigger and bigger and bigger and scarier. Mm-hmm. But when they're little like that, you just go, it's as many pictures and videos as you can. Because that lasts it's so short. It's so short. Steve hates this idea.
I'll take that risk.
Steve said he would rather
Google baby crying. It's 2020. I'll Google baby crying.
So you didn't take any videos of her crying? Of him crying, sorry?
I think I'm pretty sure I have at least one.
Good. That's all you need. Just the one.
Okay.
But let me tell you, yesterday I wasn't like, ooh, let me get my camera.
Probably not.
Holy shit. That's wild. I don't know how else to describe it. And I also feel like I'm in this club now where my wife and I are just going around to our friends and we're like, this is really hard. We must not be good at this. And every parent is I'm paraphrasing, but every parent we know is like, no, we catfished you. This is extremely hard and not cute at all.
It does get better.
I'm like, what?
It does get better. It gets better.
And that's what they all say is, oh yeah, it gets better. But we didn't want to freak you out.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh yeah, the first, you know what's really comforting is when you're 2 weeks in and everyone's like, it's only 3 months. It's only 3 months of this, or maybe 4, sometimes 6. And I'm like, I'm 2 weeks in.
Mm-hmm. We were 6 or 7 before she was sleeping full nights. So it was bad.
6 or 7 months.
6 or 7 months. And you have to, like, she might sleep 4 or 5 hours, but like, and I remember having to, because Everly just hated going to sleep. I had to like hold her and like hold her down because she would kick and punch and scratch and whatever she could if she knew she had to go to bed. So I used to listen to podcasts, history podcasts, while I was giving her a bottle and trying to hold her. Like I even had her in like a little baby sack and she's still flailing. And she wanted the bottle, but she's still flailing. And you're just sort of holding them there like, I know you're going to sleep eventually. I need you to sleep because I don't want to die. And so the first 6 months of having a child you're trying to survive as a parent. The next 6 to 8, maybe year, or at least from what I've seen, is trying to keep your child from dying because they're into everything. So it kind of flips around on you. But anyway, Wayne Simmonds. I do want to say, here's what I think was going to happen with Wayne Simmonds. Okay. Wayne Simmonds wants to come to Toronto. I have every confidence in the world that Kyle Dubas would want Wayne Simmonds on the team. The question is, what is Kyle Dubas going to do when a team comes in and goes, we'll give you 3 over 3? And Wayne has to take that.
Do you think they will?
Yes. Somebody's going to back this up. Maybe 2.5.
Not now.
You don't think so?
No, somebody's going to do it. I'm
adjusting my expectations with everything. The money's not there. The money's not there for any of these teams, and I'm always a big proponent that ownership should be hands-off. Ownership's going to be more hands-on than ever, and it's not going to be spend my money on this star or that star. It's going to be, please, for the love of God, do not spend my money because I don't have it. I think that's what it's going to be. Also, sidebar with the Leafs, the only defense of like the Marner contract, for example, that I've had, the Nylander contract, the Matthews contract, the Marner contract, what's okay about them is that they're longer. So people kept bringing up the Braden Point contract. Well, once those 3 years are up, then he's going to get paid. And Besser and all those guys who took those 3 years deal, no, they're not.
Well,
no, they're not. They're not going to get paid now.
Elliot Friedman did say that there's a chance. Elliot Friedman said this. There's a chance Besser signs a qualifying offer. Not a qualifying offer. He's a restricted offer from another team. He was suggesting that that's entirely possible.
Sure. I bet it is. But like,
as in like, and the Islanders won't match. Like that's, sorry, not Besser.
Canucks.
Canucks.
Oh, Barzal.
Barzal is what I'm trying to say. I got them mixed up. Sorry. There's a quote from Elliot saying there's a chance. And it had to do with the Canucks. It was Besser. My bad. I'm so sorry. The reality is the Canucks are in tight and a team could come in and steal him. And if you're him, you have to take the biggest dollar.
Now, is that the boogeyman we hear about every year?
Elliot Friedman said it, though. That's why I'm like, this is weird.
There's reports of it every year, though. That's why I'm always skeptical until.
Yeah, but it was, and you're right. Mm-hmm. You're right, but it was Darren Dreger last year. And we know the connection there, right?
Guy.
That's not against Darren. He's obviously got a great relationship with Darren Ferris and did a great job, and I believe was a half second away from breaking that anyway. So it worked out for him. He got a ton of attention. It got every time he was on the air, there was clicks, there was listens, whatever. Dreger was can't miss last summer. And that's what you need to do to be that sometimes. However, when Elliot Friedman was never any of those things. Elliot Friedman was never going to be like, oh, he's going to sign with the Zurich Lions. Like, he never reported that. Who did? Right? So when Elliot's saying it, I tend to go, okay, there may be some credence to that. Because he's not going to say it unless there's several people that are backing it up. So it's very, very interesting to see what will happen there. And then I think lastly, didn't we have one more thing that we had to hit? And I've completely forgotten what it would have been. We had Capitals, we had Simmonds, we had the playoffs, we had Tony potentially being offside.
Mm-hmm.
Have I completely lost my mind? That might be
anything with the trophies or.
Oh yes. Well, the nominees for best GM are out today.
Oh, yes.
Julien Brisebois, Jim Nill, and another guy that I can't remember right now.
Lou Lamoriello.
And Lou
Not just some other guy. It's
got to be
a made man.
It must be Julien Brisebois, right?
I think so.
Brisebois?
Brisebois. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, I saw a bunch of people talking about, like, how could you possibly judge a GM based on 1 year's work? Like, the Lightning are not good because of what Brisebois did last summer. You know what I mean?
But they did take a big step forward with all the trades he made. The Blake Coleman trade was great.
Yes. So I'm looking at the Islanders, for example, and going, well, what did they do? They got Varlamov.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was their other big? Wasn't a ton else.
I think.
Really.
I mean, it was hiring Barry Trotz 2 summers ago.
But that was 2 summers ago, right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
like, what did Lou do?
Yeah. Well,
The Islanders are good, but what did he do?
I don't know. Peugeot?
What did he do? Jim Nill, you could look at with the Stars, and that pick makes a bunch of sense to me. They went out and they spent a bunch of money, and people were like, what are you giving money to Corey Perry and Joe Pavelski for? And now look at them.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And Brisebois, I mean, coach is probably the best team in hockey on paper. And they made some necessary moves. But yeah, Lou, I don't get it.
There you go. Well, we'll see who wins. And watch, it'll be Lou.
For sure.
Because it may turn into the Jack Adams Award, we're still surprised you're here.
Yeah. I should say, sorry, Lou did a bunch at this deadline.
Yes. Yeah.
But
he wouldn't win based on that.
They played 3 games or something like that before everything was postponed. So I don't know.
We'll see. Let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
You guys, Leafs fan Craig has figured it out.
What has he figured out?
Leafs fan Craig wants to know if the Leafs are able to sign Tanev, DeMello, and Gudas in free agency, obviously with some salary cap trades, is that a legitimate defense group? He lists the pairings: Riley Tanev, Muzzin DeMello, Sandin Gudas.
Where's Dermott?
As the spare.
Dermott's the spare?
Lettinen as the spare.
Where's Dermott?
That must have been a trade.
Somewhere.
I mean, what if the Leafs? What if the Leafs go out and sign an entire right side? Like, this is why, dude.
Well, they'll probably have to.
I love the imagination, but like, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if they were able to go out and not just sign an entire right side, but a right side of that quality. Gudas is probably going to get a lot of money. Tanev's probably going to get a lot of money. DeMello is going to be cheap, but he's going to get more money than he was given. You're talking about that's like what, $12 million?
Maybe.
It's probably between 10 and 12.
Well, you got to get rid of
those 3.
Hall, Dermott, Kerfoot, and Janssen are probably gone to make that happen.
That sounds not fun.
Well, it doesn't sound bad. It's just I don't know that you need to get rid of Justin Hall at $2 million a year. I mean, I think Justin Hall better suited on the third pair. He's great with Muzzin, but I think that's because Jake Muzzin's very good and Justin Hall shoots right. I think if you were to look at what you really need to look at there, you don't necessarily need to trade Justin Hall. I think you can look at I'll be honest with you. I really like Chris Tanev and have for a long, long time. The only thing I have an issue with is the fact that he's got a pretty bad injury history, but he played really well this year and was relatively healthy. Chris Tanev, what he brings off the ice is an older guy, like 30, who's tougher. And also, like, they did features on him in the playoffs and what a great teammate he is. I think the Leafs could use a little of that in their room. And I think that he's a son of a bitch to play against. No one likes playing against Chris Tanev. So if you got Tanev, Riley, there's something solved. If you had to go Hall, Muzzin. Well, there's Muzzin who you don't want to play against. And let's say you get Radko Gudas, who was a 6'7" guy with the Caps, but the Leafs defense is easily thinner. I mean, the Caps have a Norris Trophy nominee on their defense. But if you have Gudas as your 6'7" guy, and you've got, I don't know if you've got Dermott drawing in, if you got Sandin drawing in, you got Letton in there as well. You have the opportunity to have a bastard literally out there every shift. Just an SOB to play against every shift. A guy where you need to keep your head up every shift. So to me, I bring it down to, if I can keep Chris Tanev in the lineup for 60 games with my great medical staff, which the Leafs do have, and if I can keep Radko Gudas from going Radko Gudas on people most nights, if I can have him playing the edge that we need him to play, but not cost the team, which is what he's been accused of, rightly so, in the past, I like that a lot. And you don't have to give up as much. Like, I still don't know. Andreas Janssen is a big question mark for me, because, you could argue that you may have to, trade his contract or trade Kerfoot's contract to make something like that happen. And the question is, if you do trade Kerfoot and he is a center, what do you do there? Janssen seems a more tradable thing, but then who wants him after a knee injury? One of those guys has got to go for my scenario to even happen. I think you need two of those three. And I think, TJ Brody, everybody talks about, would be a great fit with the Leafs, and I agree. But he's not. You've got Morgan Riley already. I need a little bit more fight. I need a little bit more. I hate playing against this guy. And TJ Brody's not a shrinking violet, but he's not Chris Tanev, right? Is that fair?
No, but I think there's something to the idea of bolstering something the Leafs already have. Mm-hmm. Their left side on D is pretty good. They got Riley, they got Muzzin, and then their third pair, I would like to see it be Sandin. I'd like Dermott to take a step. I just don't know if it's there. Because I'm looking at Tampa, and I'm like, dude, their right side is off the scrap heap. Outside of Cernak, they got Shattenkirk, who I think was bought out, Bogosian, who I think was bought out, and Luke Shen, who I think was bought out. But then Anthony Petrelli, though, Adam, made a great point on Twitter. He's like, the reason that works is because on the left of all those guys is Hedman, McDonough, Sergachev.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe they go out and they get a really good left guy because it's easier to get. I don't know what it is. But I don't think the answer is signing an entire right side.
I also don't think that you can make this decision on the left side when it comes to Dermott before camp. Rasmus Sandin, as much as everybody loves him, and it's a fair thing. He's been very, very good. Hasn't stuck in the lineup. And
they made a mistake burning the first year of his contract.
I think so. Sure,
that was a mistake.
But they did it, and whatever. But regardless of how that works out, that's a couple years down the road. You can't think like that right now. I think Rasmus Sandin's got to step up. He's got to take that spot away from Travis Dermott. And it's now time to take the kid gloves off. He's had a couple years to develop. Now it's like, are you in or are you out? And if Rasmus Sandin can't beat Travis Dermott to that spot, and Travis Dermott already drives you nuts with some of the shit that he pulls, even though you know the skill's there, one day you feel like this player is going to put it together. I don't think you can get rid of him. I don't think you can.
Would you rather have – here's one. Who would you rather have in your third pair? Justin Hall making $2 million, mm-hmm. or Timothy Liljegren trying to figure it out?
Justin Hall. I know.
At what point does he become trade fodder?
When Timothy Liljegren steps up.
I mean Liljegren. At what point does he become?
Well, I don't think people put a lot of value in him. Like, it's sort of like I think he's got he's got the William Nylander thing where he's probably better than people rate him as. But a lot of people just don't put any value on what he brings yet. I think Liljegren is going to be an NHL player. And I think he's going to be a top 4D somewhere and maybe in Toronto. And I want him to step up. But at a certain point, Sandin and Liljegren, it's like, guys, are you here? Are you coming in or are you not? Because if you're not better than Travis Dermott, then you don't deserve to be in the lineup. Fair? He's the sixth guy.
He needs to take a step so bad, man.
He does, and I feel like he can. He's got some time to figure it out. We don't know when the next season's going to be.
This is it. This is it for him. This is it.
Was he going to be 23, 24 now?
He's still not even going to be that old. And like he had a season coming off of injury, but like we're in unprecedented times, and every year, you know, you can count on the Leafs improving from within because they're so young. You know, Matthews is going to get better with time. Marner is going to get better with time. Nylander's still getting better with time, I think. Dermott's 23 in December. He'll be 24. So he'll be 24 roughly around the beginning of this season.
So we should know. But I don't think everybody that's like, well, we can trade Travis Dermott. I don't think you're going to get fair value, and I just don't think you know yet.
I also see everything I want in a Leafs player in him. It's just his decision making is wild.
Yep.
He's not fun. He's fit. He's fast. He's creative.
Good teammate, fun guy.
Good teammate, fun guy. Good off the ice. Just makes wacky decisions with that puck, man.
So that's the question. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that watch a lot of Marlies hockey. You're going to be all over me saying, well, Sandy's ready. Until they prove it to the coaching staff. And he might be, but it hasn't happened yet. So all we can go on is based on what we have, but what we know. And what we know is that Sandin has not taken a spot from Travis Dermott. And guess who knows them both really well?
Who?
Sheldon Keefe.
There it is.
He doesn't just watch tape. He's played them. He's deployed them. He knows. So
give me a third pair of Rasmus Lily. Come on.
That would be amazing. And then you only have to sign one.
If they're good, you know?
Yeah, and then, you know, the other thing, right, Jesse? Like, the thing is that are they tough enough?
Yeah.
And I know I hate asking that because I hate being that guy, but the Leafs aren't tough enough. We know that.
Yeah, you can't put them out there and then they get pummeled every time, you know?
Right.
You can't get their faces caved in.
No.
So, you know, even if you have a rotation of, and you'd have a taxi squad, or the Leafs have run it so close in the past that they literally have to send guys down to make sure they can save some cap space. But if you don't spend to the cap this year, if you're the Leafs, and you can have Lettinen, Liljegren, Sandin, and Dermott, and you can rotate guys in, or say Gudas in there somewhere, you have some combination of that. You can actually figure out who the best ones are, and then at the trade deadline, look at moving somebody else.
You know what I love is that we're not going to have to do this all day, every day for like 4 months, because the Stanley Cup is going to get awarded. It's going to be the draft the next day, and then I think it's going to be breakneck speed.
You think so?
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Well, they already moved the draft up yesterday. Yes. They announced October 7th. It's going to
be on the 6th?
Yeah, 6th, 7th.
NHL draft set to begin October 6th, free agency October 9.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's gonna rule. It's gonna rule. There's gonna be it's gonna be hard to follow for sure. Also, I'm pretty sure the draft is like Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, they moved it from like the Friday to the Tuesday, which is kind of weird.
A lot of people are like,
bedtime during the week.
This is the thing. A lot of people are looking at it from a bedtime. Actually, yeah, bedtime. They're looking at it from a broadcast perspective. And why would Sportsnet? I highly doubt it was Sportsnet's decision. And I'm sure there's a reason.
I feel like Sportsnet might be able to help with that decision.
I would think so too, but
if I'm spending $5 billion, I might have a say in that. What time is it again?
It's going to be at like 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. The first round.
And it always goes forever. And
well, isn't Thanksgiving that weekend?
Yeah, in Canada, but no one cares.
Yeah, they might though for the ratings period, because that's the thing. Maybe Sportsnet was like, let's do it on the week going into Thanksgiving, because we don't want to do it Thanksgiving weekend because we won't get the same ratings. There's nothing going on a Tuesday. I think programming wise, that actually might make a lot of sense.
Things they never had to consider.
But now the free agency frenzy is on Friday at, I guess, what is
then
it?
You got a bunch of people who took the day off.
Yeah.
Extended long weekend, at least in Canada.
Right.
United States does Thanksgiving at the right time, which is the end of November.
How dare you?
I'm so pro American Thanksgiving, you don't even know. I have a whole thing on this. American Thanksgiving is done at the right time, because at least then you have Labor Day in September, you've got Halloween in October, you've got something in November to look forward to, and then Christmas. In November in Canada, it's gray and dark and dull. and you have Leafs hockey and Mike Babcock's playing Austin Matthews 16 and a half minutes a game and not realizing that Leo Komarov played 23 minutes a game and saying that's crazy. And then the reporters go, no, that's what's on the game sheet.
Adam,
sorry.
My therapy bill.
I know.
All this money,
I know.
It's going out of the back fund and going into therapy.
American Thanksgiving, I'm telling you, it's in the right spot.
It's wrong.
So
no, you're not wrong about that.
Yeah. I know the harvest. I get it. But whatever. It's not going to change. And last question, Jesse.
You want another one?
Yeah, let's do one more. What the hell?
All right. So I'm going to bring up something that Wise_Talon on Twitter brought our attentions to. So Wise_Talon said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. This is a tweet from that's_offside. They write, sometimes I'll watch a 6'3" kid playing D and be like, that kid's a right winger. But since he's big, he's just been playing D his whole life. And sometimes I watch a 5'10" forward, like he really does well when the game is in front of him. But someone was afraid of a short kid on the blue line. And then he quote tweeted himself and said, Quinn Hughes is what happens when Mitch Marner learns gap control. Marner is a defenseman. Proceed as such.
I have actually said, I have suggested this. I tweeted this. I think I tweeted this exact thing and said it. The Leafs' best right-handed defenseman is Mitch Marner. He's absolutely right.
They'll never do it.
They'll never do it.
And that's not even a Leafs thing. That is it's
an NHL thing.
Okay. How many truly successful, when they're already in the NHL, transitions have there been from a defenseman going to forward or a forward going to
Brent
defenseman?
Burns and Mark Pysyk, and that's about it.
Pysyk just happened. Bufflin and Burns. Those are the only names I can think of.
Worked out well for those guys, though.
Sure did.
Hey, by the way, total aside, Dustin Bufflin's name's been bandied about with the Leafs. What you heard anything about him maybe coming back? I haven't either. Not a thing. Not read a thing.
We don't even know if he's going to play hockey again.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Yeah. Like I'm surprised that it's even being brought up.
I'll take
him.
Mean, pissed off, motivated Dustin Bufflin any day of the week. But like, we don't know this guy's health status. We don't know if he's ever going to play again. We don't know anything about him. So forgive me if I'm not totally jacked about the idea of Dustin Bufflin.
Yeah. But by the way, totally offside. 100% correct. Just throwing that out there. In conclusion, yes.
One day, hockey needs to transition to a more positionless sport. Like that's the future of it. These guys are too athletic and too skilled at all aspects of the game. They should really be trained at playing everywhere. And then you just kind of maneuver around the ice in different formations instead of you got these two guys back and these three guys up. Everybody should just be moving to correct positions on the ice, depending on the situation.
It's wild. What a thought. This is a league, though, that not 10 years ago was drafting players who were actively less talented and less competent than players that came later in the draft just because they were a couple inches taller.
Braden Point.
For many years, the league was like, no, good hockey player. I want to draft this knuckle-dragging person because he's huge.
Cody Ceci is a forward. He's just miscast. He's just miscast.
Maybe. Hey, man, I wouldn't mind him on the fourth line. What's he going to do? What's the worst that can happen?
I don't know. They get scored on probably, but like.
No, Steve, he's good at defense. Just ask the GM. Now, I guess we'll end on that note. We're out of here for today. We love you. Thank you for listening. We'll be back Sunday. Don't forget to tell us whether or not you thought, let's go Raps tonight. Don't forget to tell us whether you think Tony is offside or not. And please encourage Steve to go to a real rehab clinic and fix his back so we can stop hearing about it. Also, we like Steve and we don't want him to be in pain. That's the other reason.
Some of us like Steve.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.